Clap your hands, everybody. Philadelphia 76ers. What is going on, everyone? I needed this. I needed something Sixers related because I couldn't take another day of freaking out in front of my camera about the damn Phillies. It's an off day today. I was going to freak out, rip into them again for the millionth time because they pissed me off so much. But then I remembered, yo, bros, the Sixers schedule release is going to pop off at 3 o'clock. You got some Sixers basketball to talk about. So we'll put the Phillies on rest today. I can't stand them. We'll put them off to the side. What's really important is the 76ers. And if you are going to go to any of these games, you might as well use the SeatGeek code that I have, the SeatGeek promo code BRODES, which will save you $20 off of your purchase. So if you want to go to any of these fantastic games, the Christmas Day game, the opener of the season at home against the Boston Celtics, use the promo code. We have a lot of big-time matchups. We have a lot of games on ESPN, ABC, TNT, because we have an exciting squad. Oh, it's so beautiful. 24 games on those channels, which are ESPN, TNT, and ABC. And if you want to factor in NBA TV, which I don't really count as nationally televised because it's just not the same. It doesn't hold the same stature, really, but 36 of our 82 games if you count NBA TV as well. So obviously the Sixers are very popular. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Al Horford, there's a lot of hype around this squad, so clearly they're going to be on big markets. We open the season, like I said, at home against Boston. Al Horford in the Wells Fargo Center going up against the rivals of the Sixers that he just came from. Are you serious? I'm so pumped for that. We had to go into their building. We also had to play Christmas Day in their building last year. It didn't seem fair. It didn't seem like the Philadelphia 76ers were getting any love. Well, this year it changed. As at home, we get to open up the season, and that place is going to be electric. I love the Wells Fargo Center for the 76ers games. It's dynamite. That's the best way to describe it. It's dynamite. Those fans are ruthless, unbelievable, so passionate. I love every second of being down at the Wells Fargo Center on Broad Street during a big-time matchup, and that's how we open up the season. So the Christmas Day game, we did know about it. We did know that the Milwaukee Bucks were coming to town. We didn't know what time, though. 2:30. 2:30, and I'm happy that it's 2:30 because with my personal schedule on Christmas, I'm going to be able to be where I need to be by then. And I love Christmas Day basketball. There's nothing better. I'm going to tell myself right now that I will try to get to that game. I don't know what that means because I can't think that far ahead of my life. I'm worried about what I'm going to eat tonight for dinner. You know what I mean? But if I can, I will make it to that basketball game. But it's a good time. If I don't end up going, it's a good time for me. 2:30 where I can get to my mom's, I can get to my dad's, I can go here, be all finished, have my feet up, have a cold one, and enjoy this basketball game. We'll just see if I make it there or not. There's other games, of course, on Christmas Day. We might as well go over the schedule. At noon, no, not the New York Knicks. It is the Boston Celtics going to Toronto. Obviously, Toronto losing Kawhi, it's not that big of a splash, but they won the championship, so. And listen, if it's normally the Knicks on at that time, you can at least argue that there's better storylines with the Toronto Raptors over the New York Knicks, even though the Raptors aren't going to be anywhere close to where they were last year. And of course, Boston's going to bring big ratings. The 2:30 game is the Sixers. Then at 5 o'clock, Rockets Warriors. That's going to have a lot of love. 8 o'clock, Clippers Lakers on the biggest game of the menu there. Let's be real. Everyone's going to be dialed into that match. All right? For every time they match up this season, it's going to be a must-watch game. And that's kind of exciting. 8 o'clock. Can't wait. And then 10:30 is kind of maybe it's on in the background kind of game with the Pelicans and the Nuggets. Now, the NBA did come out and state that they are trying to make the West Coast teams and those West Coast games that are normally on at 10:30, they're going to try and make it easier for the East Coast people to watch. So instead of the 8 o'clock starts and the 10:30 starts here on the East Coast, they're trying to push it a little bit earlier. So you might see more 7:30 games for the first of the doubleheaders, and then a 10 o'clock start instead of a 10:30. Now, it's not that much of a difference. I don't know how much more they're going to gain, but it's something. It's something to start the process of change, because those 10:30 starts, they were losing so much ratings. No people on the East Coast would stay up that late. So I don't know if a half hour is going to change it to that extreme, but it is the right direction. They're moving in the right direction. As for back-to-backs, there's a lot of schedule changes, and back-to-backs is one of them. They want to try and eliminate them as much as possible with the travel and a lot of the play. Obviously, that's the direction all sports are going, to try and help benefit the players. I'm okay with it, obviously, having someone like Embiid who can use the rest. There are 13 back-to-backs throughout the schedule, so just keep that in mind for the load management that we will probably keep Joel Embiid in, obviously. That's something that we've seen throughout his tenure here so far, and I would assume that it would continue. There are some players returning to Philadelphia in some matchups, and of course, Jimmy Butler coming to the Wells Fargo Center Saturday, November 23rd, a Saturday night game. He's going to get harassed, and he's going to get booed, and he's going to get screamed at, but he's the type of player that will absolutely engage that. You know, he will accept that and bring it on and try and have one of those big-time Jimmy Butler games where he drops 60 and takes home the W. So I want to see that from a competitor's perspective. I want to see how Jimmy Butler comes into the Wells Fargo and treats that. It's going to be intriguing from a sports fan. Of course, I expect the 76ers to have a little bit more to take him down, but we will see how that happens. Another player, not to the same level as Jimmy Butler, but it's TJ McConnell, and I'm sure he's going to get a warm welcome here, probably 10,000 standing ovations. He comes back Saturday, November the 30th, so he will be in an Indiana Pacers uniform, which will be weird to see, but I'm sure he's going to bring the energy to the table. He loved it here, of course. It was obviously a big stepping stone for his career, but he comes back, and JJ Redick comes back December 13th. He will be here with the Pelicans, of course, Zion Williamson, and all of the fun that's going on there in New Orleans. So those are some players coming back. The Lakers come to town January 25th. So to see LeBron, Anthony Davis come to the Wells Fargo is going to be that date. Let's look at the first 10 games. Like I said, I'm not going to break down the 82-game schedule, okay? I got a buddy, actually, who does that with hockey. It makes me sick to my stomach, dude. Like, how can you possibly do that? I'm a hockey guy. I classify myself as a hockey guy, but there's people who are, to an extreme hockey guy, and you're breaking down 1 through 82 here? Come on, that's a violation. But let's just look at the first 10 games, because I feel like that's fair. And what I have this team coming out with is a 7-3 record. And there's a West Coast trip in there that's a little tough. So, first 10 games, Boston at home. Of course, I'm going to give this squad a W. With all the anticipation and the hype and being on your home court for your first game, I believe the energy is just going to be too high for the Celtics to come in here and win that basketball game. At Detroit, we're going to list that as a W. At Atlanta, W. And then then Minnesota comes to Philadelphia. We go on a 4-game win streak to start off the season. But when we go west, it gets a little bumpy. We go to Portland. Okay, that's going to be tough. We're going to give ourselves an L. We beat Phoenix in Arizona, so we're 5-1. We lose 2 in a row. We lose to Utah in Utah, and we lose to Denver in Denver. We are now a 5-3 record. And then you finish up at home with Charlotte and a W, and Cleveland and a W. And I say we start the season off 7-3. I don't think that's ridiculous. Of course, there's going to be so many games that you think you're going to win and you're going to lose. There's going to be a game here where you think you're going to lose, you're going to win. That's reality in sports. But hey, if I'm going to logically think this one out, that's how I would have the Philadelphia 76ers season starting off, which would be great. And of course, a couple Ben Simmons jump shots in there. Why not? Why not? Who's your daddy? What's he do? If you couldn't tell, I'm fired up. I'm fueled up. Seeing something so simple as a schedule release has my blood boiling for some basketball. It's also the fact that lately I've been hitting the courts out front of my house, so I've been putting in some work, so that's been getting me in that basketball itch. And I saw this on Twitter because one of my buddies and I, we went to just go shoot at a local park, and they had double rims, right? And we were freaking out saying, come on, like, why are there even double rims? The next day, I saw a Twitter poll up on Twitter. Would you rather have the double rims with a net or a normal rim, no net? And as much as I hate double rims, the net plays a factor here with your mindset. You got to go double rim with the net. As terrible as it is, as bad as it is, as much as they affect your shot, okay? You got to go with the net at least. It's a mental thing. I want to know your thoughts on that. That's very interesting to me. I also want to hear your thoughts on everything. On everything that I talked about here, from the Christmas game, from the Christmas lineup, to the first 10 games of the season, for Jimmy Butler coming back. I want to hear it all. I'm excited. I needed something like this, really. I needed something that wasn't Philadelphia Phillies. I am getting so exhausted when it comes to the same conversation about Gabe Kapler, how much they stink, how much Matt Klentak stinks. I'm getting tired of it. I really am. Now, does that mean I'm going to stop? Probably not, because it's just so brutal right now. But I needed this today. I needed something new. So let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time.